A warm welcome to everyone joining us from all over the world here at the beautiful Slovakia ring. It's the third race of the weekend for Formula 4 for the Central European Zone Championship. There's only 5 minutes until the start of the formation lap. We're here on the grid where the 11 cars are lining up right behind me as the race is ready to start. And thanks to the inversion of the top 5, it's going to be Michalina Sabaj for AS Motorsport on pole position. She's yet to come here on the starting grid, but she has a prime chance of winning her first ever race in the championship. She's got a career best of 5th position in race 2 here for the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. And of course, she is going to be one of the drivers who's going to fight for the win. Alongside her, it's Max Karhan for Genza Motorsport, the Swiss team winning both races with Oscar Wirtz, the Austrian starting down in P5 today. Third position belongs to Jonathan Correrella, the Frenchman who has adapted brilliantly to the championship, is ready to start from third position as the Frenchman will start alongside Kirill Kutskov, the driver from Kyrgyzstan, finishing in second in the opening race of the weekend and third in race 2. Oscar Wirtz is starting in 5th with the driver for Genza who is currently leading the championship by over 50 points. He has been phenomenal this season, 4 race wins already to his name. He is looking to do the treble as we speak with race 3 ready to start. It's going to be another 25 minutes of beautiful racing here at the Slovakia ring, the 5.9 kilometer circuit, ready to give us some more insights on who could possibly stop Oscar Wirtz this weekend. Let's not forget, it's only round 3 of the season. We still have 3 more race weekends to come. And of course, as things keep on building up, it's going to be very interesting to see how the drivers will manage this final race. Fatigue starts creeping in. The drivers know what to do, know how to be quick around this track. And with only a few minutes remaining, we're very, very interested to see who is going to be the race winner today at the Slovakia ring. And so here we are, ready to go for race 3 of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. And the first thing to note is that Michalina Sabaj isn't on the starting grid. We didn't see her during our grid walk, and in fact she was stuck in a pit lane, and therefore she won't be able to take the start from pole position, which is such a shame for a driver that was out in an incident earlier today in race 2. Perhaps a car not being able to run in the third and final race of this weekend, and therefore the pole position naturally shifts to Max Karhan and Genza as the Swiss team looks to do the trouble, winning all 3 races. And here is the starting grid with of course Michalina Sabaj in the first position, but that grid slot will be left empty most likely, as Max Karhan will therefore be the actual leader once the lights turn off. Jonathan Correrella and Kirill Kutskov belong on the second row for this third race. As championship leader and winner of the opening 2 races here at the Slovakia ring, Oscar Wirtz starts in 5th, just ahead of Franciszek Haltanik. 7th position for Miroslav Mikes. He has been on fire this weekend, finished 2nd in race 2, with Michelle Yandova starting in 8th position, just ahead of rookie Theodor Borenstein and Cornelia Olkuchka starting in 10th, with Gabriel Holguin all the way back to P11, rounding out the grid for this third race of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. And what a shame for Michalina Sabaj. She looked very quick this weekend, especially in race 1, as she fought for a top 5 finish, ultimately ending the race in 5th. But unfortunately, she won't be able to partake, at least in the starting procedures. We'll see if she is able to leave the grid, but unfortunately she looks to be still at her pit box. As the drivers now make their way towards the grid, it's going to be Max Karhan, who lines up in 2nd position, but effectively on pole, ahead of Correrella, Kutskov and Oscar Wirtz. Can anyone stop the Austrian? That is the question, as Gabriel Holguin parks his Mafia Racing car in the 11th and final grid slot. The lights turn red, and as they go out, we will go racing. And here we go. And it's a lovely start from Max Karhan, who looks to be keeping 1st position, but immediately it's Correrella on the attack. Around the outside goes the Frenchman towards turn number 1, with Kutskov as well looking to the inside of the Frenchman to push himself up into 2nd, and that is the case, with Kutskov being able to use the ideal line to his advantage. But watch out for Oscar Wirtz. He's already up to 3rd, and now attacking Kutskov for 2nd position. The 2 championship rivals go side by side into turn 2, and Oscar Wirtz makes it a Genza 1-2 as he climbs to 2nd position. But Max Karhan leads the race towards turn 3, and here is an immediate accident between what looks to be Holguin on one hand and another car, one of the Genza cars that looks to be Theodor Borenstein, stuck in the gravel. That could likely cause a safety car, and that is the case, with the safety car panel now being shown to the drivers as they start slowing down. And there's contact behind with, I think, one of the Yannick Motorsport cars, could be Franciszek Haltanik, spinning around as the safety car is awaiting the drivers out of turn 12. Second incident also had Jonathan Correrella involved. Here it is, the Frenchman who spun, I think, after contact. So this is definitely not the start that many of the competitors wanted. But one thing's for sure, Oscar Wirtz is already up into 2nd position. And once again, just like in race number 2, the safety car making an appearance during first lap of the race. We know just how fragile these cars can be. A little touch on the suspension and there goes your race, which is unfortunately what happened, and then some, with Holguin and Bodenstein. And here we see a replay. Oh, that was definitely a bigger crash than what the images led us to believe. And here is what was the content. It was Corrella who got spun around by what looked to be one of the Sape Motorsport cars of Michel Yandova. And unfortunately, Corrella has now dropped to the back of the grid. But yeah, violent accident between Bodenstein and Holguin. Hopefully both drivers are okay, with the safety car of course being deployed. And Max Karhan leading the race. He had easy pickings into turn 1 as Michalina Sabaj failed to take the start from pole position, and therefore Karhan was immediately promoted into first. Here are the two drivers, actually the two cars, still in the gravel with the recovery vehicle, and the lovely work from the marshals that have helped racing resume as fast as possible during this weekend, and they will do that once more. Of course, the time is still running. It's 21 minutes and 7 seconds until the end of the race, with Max Karhan in the lead ahead of Oscar Wirtz and Kirill Kutskov. Wirtz definitely looking for the treble, as he was able to win the opening 2 races of the weekend, and with stellar performances, though the 2 races couldn't be any different if they tried, with Wirtz dominating with a lights to flag win in race 1 and then having to recover from the anti-stall kicking in at the start of race 2, doing what actually was a last to first challenge basically from turn 1 on the opening lap up until the end of the race, with Wirtz winning the second race as well. Of course, part of a very motorsport oriented family is Oscar Wirtz, brother of current Formula 3 driver Charlie, who's also racing for Genza, and of course son of former F1 driver Alexander. Here you can see Theodor Borenstein looks to be responsive, thankfully, maybe explaining to the marshals what happened. And here is Holguin's car being recovered. So this looks to be a bit of a longer operation compared to what we had in race 2, but it shouldn't be long until racing gets back underway, with 19 minutes and 21 seconds to go here in the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. It's effectively the last race of the first half of the season. We then have the Autodrome Most, which will host round number 4 of the season, the Czech track welcoming the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship from the 3rd to the 4th of August. We will then stay in Czech Republic for the whole summer basically, as Brno will be the theatre of round 5 from the 7th to the 9th of September, before the final race of the season at the Salzburg Ring in Austria a couple of weeks later. Of course, after this weekend, if things were to stay like this, Charlie Wirtz would have a pretty big gap over the rest of the field, and his competitiveness has been absolutely amazing. However, here we see Holguin, a very sad looking driver unfortunately today, as he was forced to retire in both races this Sunday. Holguin not starting
the campaign in F4 Central European Zone as he wanted. He effectively crashed out of every single race this weekend, but still finished in the points in race 1 after a last lap contact. Also with Theodor Borenstein, so the two can't seem to stay apart. Thankfully, though, both drivers seem to be okay, and as the Genza of Borenstein is being recovered as we speak, we should be getting ready to be back on the way in a couple of minutes. Once the safety car will turn its lights off, it will be Max Karhan leading the way, though his teammate, championship leader Oscar Wirtz, is right behind him. And we will see what Genza has to say about that. Of course, still very early on in the season. It's only the 3rd round of the 6th that the championship has in store for us. But at the same time, Wirtz is doing an incredible job to be this far ahead so far. And we will see, of course, what the championship will shape up to be, as the red flag has actually been shown now by the stewards, as we see from the drone, and therefore the race has been suspended with effectively 16 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock. The cars bunching up on the start-finish straight, the red flag being shown to possibly clear the track without losing too much time. And so, with 60 minutes and 21 seconds still to go, the drivers would now line up to the red flag line, as we commonly know as one of the maiden rules to follow when the red flag has been shown. Therefore, we will have a line of cars right behind the safety car ready to restart once we are ready to go. Of course, this being the 2nd season of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. Last year, the project by the ACCR and Krennic Motorsport, together with HM Sports, started off really nicely, but this year it's really starting to grow with a record of 20 cars present at the Red Bull Ring, which was definitely a great thing to see. As here, Theodor Borenstein watches in a very disappointing way his damaged car, as Holguin is unfortunately still there. Really hurts for the drivers, especially when it's a turn 1 incident on the opening lap. You feel as like your whole preparation for the weekend has gone up in smokes. Both the drivers still have some points to be proud of. Borenstein being a debutant in Formula 4, whereas Holguin has already raced in a couple of selected rounds of the Italian Formula 4 Championship, together with Maffi. Borenstein finishing a record of 6th in race 2. Whereas we are now starting the procedures for the race to be back on the way. It's going to be a 10-minute wait from here until the safety car will leave the grid. With the marshals trying to clean the track. Here we go. Thanks to the lovely work of the cameraman. Of course, the gravel being brought on track from the accident. It's not easy to do this kind of stuff quickly, which is why marshals are always as trained as they possibly can for every inconvenience. This is why we only have 10 minutes to the restart procedure. As you can see now, 14:11 local time, which is exactly now in 9 minutes. The race will be back underway with the last 16 minutes and 21 seconds, with Max Karhan leading the way. And here you can see the contact. The Mafika of Holguin almost going airborne, definitely lifting off the ground, which is probably a testament of a pretty big accident. And here you can see, of course, one of the Sape Motorsport cars, which is Kuchka, tagging the back of Jonathan Correrella, and the Frenchman dropping to the back of the grid. He has been really good this weekend, has Jonathan Correrella. He has started off really nicely with a third place finish in Balaton in race 3, where he actually finished 4th on track, but in front of him was reigning champion Ethan Isher, which is was a guest driver and therefore ineligible to score points. That is why Correrella was awarded with a third place finish. And he was also back on the podium for race 1 here at the Slovakia ring. Frenchman ousting the current race leader, Max Karhan, after a phenomenal fight between the two. And Karhan is still looking for his first podium this weekend. Finished 4th in both races. Is yet to finish in the top 3. Same thing that happened to the Frenchman in race 3 at Balaton happened to Karhan the race prior, where he took home 3rd place and the first podium of the season. Of course, now Karhan not only has the chance to fight for the podium, but of course for the win as well, together with his teammate Oscar Wirtz, who started from 2nd, will definitely be the prime favorite for this one. And here you can see quite a lot of people actually coming here on the stands. Slovakia ring being a very popular track in Central Europe. And a lovely day today as well, with slightly cooler temperatures. We saw a couple of drops of rain actually earlier on during the day towards lunchtime, but thankfully for our drivers, the race has started in dry conditions, and of course the rain is now nowhere to be seen, with the sun shining through the clouds in what is another brilliant day of racing, which is very close to getting back underway. It's only a little more than 5 minutes from now, as an incident between these two drivers, Holguin and Borenstein, effectively put the race on halt, with Max Karhan for Genza ready to lead the pack once we go back to green flag racing, with championship leader and 4-time race winner Oscar Wirtz, who is definitely going to try and pass his teammate to try and do the treble, which is winning every single race in a weekend. And in the history of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship, this has only been done once by Ethan Isher in Most last year. He came very close in Brno, where he won a race and finished 2nd in the other. And of course, Charlie Wirtz himself was on the verge of accomplishing this feat in Balaton, winning the opening 2 races, but finishing in 3rd in race 3. Of course, this is also a very difficult time for the drivers, as they need to keep their calm, keep their cool, and try and understand what can be done and what they can improve since their race start. Of course, it's not easy to keep the concentration levels high, as a 10 to 15 minute pause like this one could definitely hurt their chances. And of course, we're talking about very young drivers which still need to develop on the mental side. Mental strength, of course, being one of the key aspects of motor racing. Whereas right now we hear from the stewards that one of the cars, being Michel Yandova, has been awarded a 10-second time penalty for a starting procedure infringement. So the Czech driver for Sape Motorsport will have not only those 10 seconds, but also a further penalty for causing a collision, that is her tagging the back of Jonathan Correrella just as the safety car was deployed. So it's going to be a grand total of 20 seconds to be added to her final race time, which is a shame for her, and she is now effectively out of contention for the podium. Yandova struggling this weekend, but effectively getting her best result of the season, finishing in 8th in race 1. She also has another championship point to her name, obtained in race 1 in Balaton. Whereas now we're only a couple of minutes away from the race restart. Max Karhan leading the way, looking for his first ever win in the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. Last year he raced in the final 3 rounds of the season in Most, Brno and Balaton, achieving a 5th position in the Hungarian weekend as his best result. Made his debut last year with Genza, a season that was dominated by the Swiss outfit, winning every race apart from 3. PHM winning both races in the Red Bull Ring thanks to James Agozzi, the driver from Italy that races for the United States, and then Zauter Engineering with Michael Zauter winning in Balaton in race number 2. This year so far it's been a tale of Genzer, Murphy and PHM, the latter only taking part in the second round of the season around the Red Bull Ring, with Andrei Petrovic, Maximilian Popov and Kamal Mrad sharing the 3 wins, but the other PHM star, Davide Larini, getting the overall most amount of points off of that weekend with 2 second places and a 3rd position in the final race of the season, of the weekend at the Red Bull Ring, which means that Larini actually still is in 4th position in the standings. He has just been overtaken by Miroslav Mikes, the Czech, finishing in 2nd in race 2, as we now see the message from race control saying that the race will be restarted behind the safety car as always during a red flag procedure, which means that we're now just seconds away from the restart. The safety car will lead us for 1 lap, and then it will likely give Max Karhan the chance to lead the pack on the green flag racing for the first time since 20 minutes ago. Here we go. Cars are finally back on track, roaring towards turn number 1 as the timer restarts, and we have 16 minutes left on the clock. It's going to be very important this lap for basically everyone, because drivers need to put the tires into the right temperature window, and of course this is a crucial moment in the race because we know how hard it is to drive with cold tires, especially on a track like the Slovakia Ring, where the first 3 corners are tire grip dependent. These fast right-handers, especially the second one, that leads to a hard braking zone into turn 3, and of course with cold tires it's much more difficult to get the grip that is needed to either attack or defend the position. Here is the safety car leading the pack through the second sector, the most technical one of the entire circuit. Max Karhan and Oscar Wirtz leading the pack, with Kirill Kutskov in third position. He's still trying to win for the first time here at the Slovakia ring. His only success coming in Balaton. He was briefly leading the race, well, more than briefly actually, in the second race of the season, the second race of the weekend. He was the leader for the first half before getting overtaken by Oscar Wirtz with 10 minutes to go, as the Austrian was then able to build a gap and come home for his 4th win of the season, effectively gaining quite a lot of ground, just like the safety car is doing right now, as its lights have been turned off, and therefore we are restarting with Max Karhan ready to lead the pack through the final 2 corners and towards what will essentially be lap number 5 of the race, with a little bit more than 13 minutes to go. Karhan, Wirtz, Kutskov, Mikes and Jandova, the top 5 as we speak, with Karhan pulling away at the start of the penultimate corner, which is exactly the same tactic that Oscar Wirtz used in race 1, which is why the Austrian is so close, because he knew that was coming. He wasn't taken by any surprise, and here goes Oscar Wirtz right at the restart. He's not going to leave anything for granted and anything on the table for the others. He's already in front, coming towards turn number 1, and we have a new race leader, and that is Prime Championship contender Oscar Wirtz, getting into turn 1 in the lead of the race. Max Karhan needs to settle for second position, as Miroslav Mikes has climbed to third, overtaking Kutskov into turn 1. Though the driver from Kyrgyzstan is still trying to make a pass for third. He tries it around the outside, which then turns to the inside, losing the back end of the car. The rear brakes locking throughout the long right-hander, but Mikes keeping a third, and Kutskov staying in 4th, as Jandova is currently into 5th position, but of course she is out of contention for the podium or the top 5 likely, as she has a 20-second time penalty that will be added to her total racing time. Half of the penalty was for a starting infringement, whereas the other half was because of a collision that spun Jonathan Corrella around. Right now we have Oscar Wirtz in the lead, but maybe not a surprise, but definitely nice to see that Karhan has not left, or hasn't let Oscar Wirtz run away with it, as Karhan is still in the sights of the Austrian, looking for a move and looking for his first ever win in the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. Of course, second place will still be a career high, as we see Miroslav Mikes in the gravel and the penultimate corner. He's going to be able to make it back to the track, but he's lost third position, gifting it to Kutskov, with Jonathan Corrella already up to 4th. And behind, the fight between Michelle Jandova and Mikhalina Sabaj, who was then able to get to the racetrack. Fortunately not in time to start from P1. She had to start from the pit lane, but she did it anyway, as we go side by side between Kutskov and Corrella towards turn number 3. They still appear to be side by side as we go to one of the prime overtaking spots of the circuit. Around the outside goes Jonathan Corrella, but Kutskov is having none of it, as the Mafia Racing driver is trying to defend hard pushing his rival almost on the grass, but Correrella with a superior traction off of the corner. And he is through to third place. Fantastic move from the Frenchman as Kutskov tries to go around the outside of turn 6. Doesn't work out for him. That was phenomenal for Correrella as he now exits from turn 8 in third place. Kutskov dropping to fourth as we have a little bit less than 10 minutes to go in this final race of the weekend. Oscar Wirtz still leading. Max Karhan in second. And now Jonathan Correrella up into third. And you can see Karhan very close to the back of Wirtz. He doesn't want to let this one go. He wants that win. He definitely wants some success, some individual success, as Karhan is now fighting very hard. The main star of this weekend, Oscar Wirtz, he has taken everything really from this weekend. Pole position, setting a new track record for the Formula 4 cars, winning race 1 in a lights to flag win, and being triumphant in race 2 after finding himself in last position due to the anti-stall kicking in during race 2. As now Karhan looks to the outside towards turn number 3. It's a bold move for Karhan. He can't seem to make it stick this time as he tries the over and under, tries to go around the outside of Wirtz. This will turn to the inside for turn 5. This could be a prime opportunity for Karhan to take back the race lead as Wirtz fights his teammate quite hard but fairly as he keeps the position but goes wide into turn 6. As now Karhan has a chance to move itself up to first. But Wirtz is good under braking despite locking up into turn 8. And he keeps the position, but this is not done yet. Wirtz needs to work very hard for this one, as Karhan seems to have every single solution so far to Oscar Wirtz and his him trying to flee away from second position. Can't seem to run away with it though, as Karhan is still in second, still attached to the rear wing of his Genza teammate, who's racing with a newer Genza livery that they're using this season, especially Formula 3, as he goes extremely wide out of turn 13, losing the back end of the car, which gives Karhan a prime opportunity to move into first. Let's see if he can close the door on Wirtz, who stays on the inside. Fair play, as Wirtz launches one up the inside and keeps first position somehow with 6 minutes and 47 seconds to go. This is turning into a fantastic fight between the two, which is also helping Jonathan Correrella make his way towards third position, of course, towards the lead of the race, as Oscar Wirtz is now once again in the lead after briefly losing it for a couple of meters over Max Karhan, the latter not having the straight line speed needed to clear Wirtz before turn 1, which would have given him the opportunity to cling on the inside line, as the two of them almost lock up in sync towards turn 8. But you can see just how closer Jonathan Correrella is. He lapped a whole second quicker than the two race leaders on lap 7. We're currently into lap 8, which sees Correrella now just 1.4 seconds behind the race leader. Behind them it's Kirill Kutskov in 4th position with Mikhalina Sabaj in 5th, just ahead of Franciszek Halatnik, who is currently holding 6th position. Through turn 13 we go for the 8th time today, at least in this race 3, as Oscar Wirtz is once again under pressure and under threat from Max Karhan, as the Czech driver pulls to the outside once more. Doesn't seem to have the run on Wirtz to push to the inside. He breaks really late this time around and stays around the outside of his teammate. It's very close between the two of them, as Karhan touches the grass for a split second. If he can get the drive out of turn 2, he could be a menace for Wirtz towards turn number 3. Almost contact between the two of them, as Karhan looks to the outside for turn number 3. Who will be the bravest on the brakes? It's fairly even between the two, as Oscar Wirtz keeps 1st position, but now Jonathan Corrella is directly behind the two of them, and he is definitely in the fight for the race win. Of course, the Frenchman is still looking for his maiden success in the series, having made his debut in Balaton 2 rounds ago. And he is definitely looking to be one of the quickest drivers in the championship. The Ideal Line Performance Gender Racing team has been very impressive this weekend and this season in general, as they have been trying to make a step forward to fight against Genzer and Maffei. Now the two drivers for the Swiss team going up the hill and then down towards turn 13. I think Karhan might have a look around the outside into the penultimate corner. He definitely has the overspeed, as he forces Oscar Wirtz on the inside line, which is definitely not what he wanted, but he was able to keep 1st position. But as we start lap number 10, which is the penultimate lap of the race, we could go 3 wide here, as Corrella takes the slipstream of both Wirtz and Karhan, the latter breaking super late round the outside of Oscar Wirtz. And has he made the move stick? Yes, he has. What a move from Max Karhan to take the lead of the race, as Oscar Wirtz wants to have none of it and is already around the outside into turn 2, which will stay as the outside line for turn 3. Let's see if he is able to outbrake his rival. He looks to be ahead already. However, Karhan, as he should, has defended the inside line, and he has possibly defended the position as Wirtz sticks a tire up the inside and is still alongside his teammate. This is very dangerous stuff between the two of them, as Wirtz now launches one around the outside, but there's no space for him on Karhan, and this leaves him vulnerable to Corrella's attacks. The Frenchman isn't able to make the move stick, and he stays into 3rd. And so we have a change of the lead, as Max Karhan moves into P1 with only a lap and a half to go. Could this be the move that gives the Genzer driver his 1st victory in his career here in Formula 4 Central European Zone? Of course, Wirtz still has a couple of opportunities, but needs to be very close here, because Karhan looks to be almost running away with it now. He needs to have one of the cleanest final couple of corners he's ever had this weekend. And of course, this fight between Corrella and Wirtz could help him, as the Frenchman unsettles Wirtz, who had to open the door to avoid an accident, as we go on the final lap of the race with Max Karhan in the lead, Oscar Wirtz in 2nd, Jonathan Corrella in 3rd. And Karhan looks to be in a solid spot here to win his 1st ever race, as we see Michelle Yandova struggling to get going once again, as the Sabe Motorsport driver looks to have stopped right outside the track, which is a shame for her. She had a big penalty to add to her total race time, but she was definitely looking for a top 6 finish. Unfortunately, that coming undone in the dying stages of the race. But here we are back with the top 3, as Max Carhan and Oscar Wirtz are fighting for the race win together with Jonathan Correrella. Frenchman, however, slightly behind the Genza pair now, as Carhan make the move stick a couple of laps ago. And has left Wirtz to Jonathan Correrella. We have a yellow flag shown, of course, for the incident regarding Michelle Yandova. But this doesn't look to be stopping Max Carhan, who is still trying to push as hard as possible, especially, of course, on the green flag conditions, as he goes up the hill for the final time this weekend. 4th place has been a history and a story for Max Carhan this time here in Slovakia, missing out on the podium for hundreds of a second in race 1, finishing 4th in race 2. Race 3 has finally come to him as the Czech driver crosses the line, and Max Carhan is a Formula 4 Central European Zone race winner, as he takes home victory here in Slovakia with a phenomenal move on the penultimate lap of the race, not letting Oscar Wirtz do the treble. And just like in Balaton, the Austrian has to settle for second right before the end of the race. The lead taken away from him by his teammate, and great performance from Jonathan Correrella as well, as the Frenchman completes the final 25 minutes of racing of the weekend in 3rd position. It's 4th for Kirill Kutskov, the driver from Mafi, not able to finish on the podium this time around, just as he did in the opening 2 races. Here he is, Kutskov, who has finished 4th, just ahead of Mikaline Sabaj. Such a shame for the AS Motorsport driver. She was supposed to start on pole position, but an issue to her car prevented her from making the grid, and therefore she had to start from the pit lane, but still did really well to recover up until 5th position, just ahead of this morning's P2, Miroslav Mikes, who finishes in 6th, ahead of Franciszek Halatnik and Cornelia Olkuchka for Mafi. Rounding out the top 8, which are also the drivers that have finished the race, of course. Here you can see Michelle Yandova stuck in the gravel at the penultimate corner, which is definitely not what she wanted, but a tough race for her. Even tougher for Holguin and Theodor Borenstein, 2 drivers that caused the red flag with their accident into turn 1. And here we go with the highlights of this race. Here is the accident between the 2 drivers that we were talking about just now. Genza and Mafi losing 1 driver apiece. Here's contact caused by Michelle Yandova with Jonathan Correrella, who did very well to recover up to 3rd and almost fighting for the race win. And here is the mistake that caused the final yellow flag of the race, with Yandova finishing in the gravel. But nothing could stop Max Carhan today, as he's finally become a Formula 4 winner here in the Central European Zone Championship. And that is all from us here at the Slovakia Ring. It was 2 days of incredible racing, that's for sure. But we've only finished the first half of the season. We still have 3 rounds to go, with the Autodrome Most hosting round 4 of the season from the 3rd to the 4th of August. See you then.